Hi guys and welcome back. I feel like it's been a hot minute since last time I posted. Today I'm back with some very easy and dirt cheap DIYs. My husband has actually picked these boards up for me from Dollarama. There are 6 of them in here. I think they were $4 from what I can remember. And I thought that these would be absolutely awesome for all the sign making that I do. So I wanted to create some sort of a border. So I am using just painter's tape and creating that border by taping it on. And this will give me that straight edge as well because I'm just using the board as the guide. I love making signs. You probably noticed that, and this is another easy peasy way to make one that's gonna look fabulous in your decor. I am going to include a printable that I've used for this in the description box. It was free, so if you want to do it yourself as well. So once I had the tape on the way I wanted it, I spray painted, I would say, 2 coats of this. You can also paint it. I just spray painted it because it was faster. That's all. And I used the chalky paint finish from Michaels in charcoal black. And then immediately after I was done spray painting it, I removed the tape off. That way there is no pulling off the paint. I've kind of learned this trick with doing all sorts of painting in my house, the walls, and all the professionals always say to remove the paint while the paint's still wet, so that way if you have any blobs or anything, you don't end up pulling the paint with it. Once it was done, I had printed and prepped my water slides. I have a full video on how to prep these, but Hippo had kindly sent me some water slide paper that you need an inkjet to print it. You can print any image you want, so I said I'm using the one. It's linked in the description box. Then you spray it with some clear coat, and then goes in the water and slides onto the whatever surface you're working with. So once the way I've imagined this and the way it was turning out wasn't quite the same. So as you can see, you can't really see it. I think I was able to see it more, but on camera you could hardly see it. So after trying to smooth it out, I decided to actually take it off, put it back on the paper gently so that way it doesn't rip or anything, and I ended up softening the black. The look that I was going for was that chalkboard sign. So I actually started applying dry brushing white chalk paint and just rubbing it in and rubbing it off, and this was fairly easy to do. It wasn't really getting onto the border, and then gently removed the water slides off again and put them back on. This wasn't a very big deal to do, but this had made the letters and the writing stand out a lot more. I do think that if you put it directly onto the white background, it would look fabulous. But I am pretty happy with the way this turned out. I think it's going to look great on my coffee station or in my kitchen. I love these type of signs. For my next DIY, I am using my Cricut machine and cutting out a stencil. I have found this free SVG online, which I will link it in the description box as well if you want to use it. And I'm using the longer cutting mat, and I have it was 18 inches wide. I made the image, and that fit pretty good onto this vinyl, stencil vinyl from the Cricut. I have used about quarter of the roll. I was using it for some other projects. So then I weeded it out. Thought I don't bore you with that, and use some transfer paper to transfer it on to the mat. This was a little bit tricky, I'm not gonna lie. I did end up applying some heat to it, I watched a little tutorial, well, a couple of them, and everybody said you use a blow dryer. I've had the heating machine, so the easy press, so I ended up doing it. It flattened it up, it did not make it stick. Apparently if you do it with actual vinyl, it will make it stick, so maybe next time I will try that. And then I use my chalky finish spray paint to spray paint it on, and as you can see, I got a little bit on the edges, but that's okay. I think it just makes it rustic. And then once it was dry, I finished it off with this ultra cover clear matte spray. This just makes it be more permanent. I do love the way this turned out. The little bit of spray paint on the edges doesn't bother me. If it does for you, make sure you cover it up. Next project is another very easy project to do, and I have gotten this at the dollar store with more. It looks like a half a cutting board, and then I just painted it with one coat of white chalk paint, and then I went and I used some of these napkins. I haven't used them in about 2-3 weeks, so I thought I'd get back to them and just trying to see whether the image will fit. I cut it out as close as possible. I did trim some of the flowers and leaves off just so it fits onto my board. Obviously, if your board is bigger, you don't have to do that. And these napkins I got at Dollarama. So once, while the board was drying, I was cutting this out, and then I did something else to the board, which I kind of like the way it turned out. I just want to say, if this is your first time stopping by my channel, I would love it if you considered subscribing, pressing the notification bell so you don't miss out any of my future uploads. I have so many more fall DIYs coming your way, and maybe there will be a furniture upcycle as well. So I think this fits perfectly just the way I want it. Now it's time to add that little design to the board. So I'm using the painter's tape again and just making little sections, and then I wanted some really thin stripes. So after I had applied this piece of tape, I took a ruler and just marked off an area where I would like to cut it. Because, like I said, I wanted a thin piece, thin line going down, and I didn't have tape that was thin like that. So I ended up using an X-Acto knife and just cutting on top of the lines that I made, and this made the tape so easily to just peel off. I would love to know if you guys can let me know which one of these DIYs was your favorite. Do you love making signs as well? Do you enjoy watching me making signs? Those are all things that are very helpful for me to know, so I would love it if you took the time and left me a comment. It helps me out a lot knowing what to record, and as well kind of placing this video in some sort of a YouTube algorithm. If the more you engaged with it, the more YouTube likes it. So now I am, and I would actually appreciate that very much. So now I'm going to use some black acrylic paint and just paint out the sections that I left blank that I actually sectioned off. So I think you pretty much get the idea of how this is going to look. And again, once the paint was on, immediately after, I end up taking the tape off. I think all of these DIYs, and especially this one, were so easy to make and literally under $2 for this one. The first one was, I think as well, probably even cheaper, and the middle one, I would say about $5. Because I picked up the mat at IKEA for $4. So once the paint had fully dried, I took that napkin that I cut out, the image that I cut out, I took the bottom layer off, and then I added Mod Podge in this area that I was planning on putting the image, glued the image on, and then I covered the whole piece with the Mod Podge. I just found that if I don't do this, you can kind of tell where the Mod Podge ends. I love how simple this was to make and how it turned out. Like I said, I would love to know which one was your favorite. And if you're not subscribed, make sure you hit that subscribe button and a notification bell so you don't miss out any of my future uploads. And those of you returning, thank you so much for your continuing support, and I will see you all in my next video. And don't forget to check out my home channel and decorate with me so you can see how this mat looks.